I am a ghost of the future. Well, I guess I'm a ghost of the future for the ghost that recorded this video in the past, but I'm a ghost of the present for me right now, but I'm a ghost of the past by the time you see this video. I'm a ghost and I made this video back in April? It's now June. Happy Pride. I recorded this video in April. I've kind of been sitting on it. Not quite sitting on it. I've been taking a while to make it, and finish it. It was sitting half done on my laptop for a long time. There's been a lot going on, and some of it is very big in my personal life. Some of it's very small in comparison to life, like world events. And some of it is life-changing for me. So, my brain is all over the place, and I haven't really had the time or the wherewithal to work on videos, which makes me sad. I'm hopefully finally finishing this video. Of course, if you're seeing it, I've finished it, so I've finished the video. So without further ado, happy Pride. I hope you enjoy the video.
Hello. I want to teach myself how to sew. I specifically want to teach myself how to hand sew. It feels more accessible in general, but specifically accessible to me. I can't just go out and buy a sewing machine because I've decided to teach myself how to sew. It's very expensive, and at this point feels very unnecessary because I have my own hands, and hand sewing seems like an essential, if not very important, thing to have on hand in the first place. And so I wanna do it. I wanna teach myself how to do it. This isn't my first venture into the sewing world. People have attempted to teach me several times, but I decided a while ago that I legitimately want to teach myself and learn how to not only sew things, but potentially sew clothes. There are some far more ambitious endeavors I'd like to accomplish at one point, but first I have to get a hand on hand sewing in the first place. So today we're gonna do something that I perceive as a far more simple project, and it'll be useful too. See, when I do my chores, I look a little something like this. And that's great, functional even, but it could use a little sprucing up. Essentially, I want to feel like an innkeeper keeping their inn and bustling about while I'm doing my chores. And to do so, I desire an apron. I bought this fabric on a whim several months ago, and now comes the time in which we use it. It's cotton and very cute. There's lots of working kitties everywhere, and I needed it. And I've decided it to be my apron fabric of choice. I have 1 yard to work with, so we got this. We'll see what we can do with that. I've washed and pressed the fabric in preparation for this. So our first step is going to be cutting out the shapes, which might be far more difficult task than I realize, but I'm going to make it happen as per usual. I'm not going to be basing it off of any pattern pieces either, which I assume is going to make it a little bit more difficult. So we'll see. My thinking is that I'll make this in 4-ish parts. There will be an apron skirt, the waist tie, a top part thingy, and then a necktie thingy. In the technical term, of course. Now I just gotta figure out how. Alright, makes sense? Go team!
To get some idea of the measurements, I measured my waist and divided that by 2 for the skirt width. I decided I wanted to make this a gathered apron, so I doubled that original divided number by 2 to have enough fabric to gather, which feels silly now because it just brought us back to the original waist measurement.
That was exciting.
I'll be coming back to the rest of the fabric to cut the other pieces later, but from here I'm going to start hemming my edges to keep them from fraying. They're already doing quite the good job at that, and I'd like them to stop. I've been using Bernadette Bannard's Make, Sew, and Mend traditional techniques to sustainably maintain and refashion your clothes, among other random videos to study up on stitching. There's something about learning traditional techniques, though, that scratches a little itch in my brain. I think it has to do with the enjoyment of the idea of things being passed down and taught throughout history. And Bernadette teaches some of those related things in a very approachable sense. Since I'm a beginner, and I also want to make this a little bit easier on my eyeballs, I'm going to be using a black thread for my stitching. While I was hemming these edges, I seem to have forgotten that I haven't actually practiced my sewing yet. I've spent a lot of time watching and reading about sewing, but have yet to actually practice, so I kept wondering why I was finding it so difficult. It's because this is the practice. This is the practice. Practicing right now. It's the practice. It's why it's hard.
Hello. Welcome back. There's a kitty here. I feel just like this much self-conscious because it is close to 1:30 in the morning and I'm just sitting in the living room talking to myself, and I don't want to be too loud. I waited till the heater turned on, so if you can hear something in the background, that's what it is. I want to check in again because I spent the entire afternoon and evening and night, essentially, hemming the edges of my fabric. It took quite a while, and I actually had a surprising amount of fun with it. At first, it was like kind of stressful because my brain kicked into like, oh, I'm in danger, I'm dying. It's like, no, actually, you're just doing a new thing. But it's really cool because I started on the bottom seam and then I moved on to the left and the right seams, and you can see progressively like me getting better at doing the felling stitch. It's quite jagged to start on the bottom, and then as you move to see on the left and the right, it gets a lot smoother, and like I'm quite proud of that. And also I'm glad that I did use black stitching because then I could notice that more, and so that was a cool thing to notice. I can't do too much more tonight, but the next step is going to be to gather the top of the apron skirt, and I just wanted to note that I cut out a piece for the chest part for the top of it, and I just eyeballed this, essentially just held up part of the like leftover scraps to my chest to see like how big, and tried to allow for some seam room, allow for some seam allowance. And then I have this chunk. I have one more chunk, but I wanted to keep the horizontal parts like horizontal if I could help it. So I have this chunk of fabric left, and I'm gonna piece together the waistband using it. So I'm gonna end up measuring this out and piecing together the waistband. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing next. I might do it tomorrow, because it's getting so late, but after I do the waistband, I'll add on the top of the apron and then I'll do the strap for the neck. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of my work today. For first day sitting and fully filling the edges. I'm pretty happy with this. And I had fun doing it, so and like it was exciting because the more I learn and practice how to do this, the more that I can do with this skill. So
Hi, it's the next day for me. It was quite a busy day, and I took a shower, and now it's into the evening, and I'm gonna sit down and do some sewing. My first steps are gonna be to cut out the strips to piece into the waistband because although ripping the fabric yesterday was very fast, I found that hemming with frayed edges was more difficult than hemming with like a cut edge or like just a straight edge. So I'm gonna draw threads from the fabric to try and get a straight line and cut pieces out, and then I'll probably piece together the waistband using a simple backstitch or something like that, and then I will start working on gathering the skirt. I don't know how much I'm gonna do tonight, but I'm just gonna kind of take it easy and see what I can get done. So that's what I'll be doing.
with the changing of the seasons, it's been starting to warm up, and that is not great for me. I have some really bad heat sensitivity, but today it's cool out and it's breezy, and I felt like I wanted to dress up a bit and go and sit in the nearby park and do some sewing, do some felling, and start work on the top half of the apron. I mostly really just wanted to dress up because I got a bunch of new stuff from a vintage store recently, and I have every reason to go out and wear it whenever I want, but I wanted to, I don't know, dress up a bit. And I haven't worn this skirt in forever. I really wanted the essence of sickly Victorian child. This bow, one of the things, the earrings, the acorn earrings, this belt, the pan flute necklace. When I tell you that this place gave me everything my goblin heart desires, it was so good. I think I also need to show you guys my button collection at some point, because I didn't mean to start a button collection, but I had bought a jar of buttons from this vintage store, and I was freaking out about it because there were so many cool ones. And then my friend's mom, she saw that, and she started pulling out her own button collection out of her sewing box and gave them to me. And so I have all these like vintage buttons that I didn't know I needed, and it's really cool and it's really exciting. I need to. I'll do that at some point, because I think if you're anything like me, you will need to see this button collection. But there's like just all sorts of different types, and like lots of times when I find buttons, like either being sold and just like, hey, spare buttons, or like that sort of stuff, it'll be lots of individual buttons, not so much sets. And the bag of buttons that my friend's mom gave me had multiple sets of buttons, and that made me so really excited, because whenever I actually have found buttons in the past before, it's just a couple of buttons, and it's like, I mean, of course I love them, they're buttons, but you can't really do anything with like one or two buttons other than just like, look at how cool they look. But what's really cool about having sets of buttons is that I could actually make something and put those buttons on it. That's so cool to me. And I'm so excited. And there's so many things I can do. I have raved on long enough about this newfound button collection, but I'm gonna need to show you guys, because there are some really, really cool buttons in it. And I'll get to that at some point. But for now, we're gonna sit and sew. We're gonna do some sewing. Gonna go to the park, gonna take a nice little walk in the sun and in the breeze, and gonna go and look really, really elegant in my big circle skirt. I'm so excited. I'm happy. It feels like a good day to do this. So let's go for a walk.
The wind says hello. My legs are falling asleep, and so I'm gonna move under the tree, but it's gotten a lot more windy than I expected it to be. So I ended up having to pin the fabric to my skirt, so that it wouldn't just like flop over on itself all the time. It's a really nice day today, and I think it's so windy because it's meant to rain tomorrow. But I'm having one of those walks where I'm like, this is what I want my life to be, just a series of walks in the park where I like sew or do some other crafting thing. I'm gonna move under that tree now. I've returned. It was getting a little too windy. I didn't think it would get too windy. I really underestimated the wind. When I first went out, I thought it was just going to be a bit breezy. And then I was out there and it was really lovely and I was really enjoying it. And then I was sitting there under the tree and a little branch flew at me and I was like, I think it's time to go back. I wasn't out very long, so I didn't get very much work done, but it was a really lovely walk. It was the kind of walk that I was like, oh, I want this to be my life. Just, going for walks in the park and listening to music and doing some craft. This case, it was sewing. It felt really peaceful and I felt like really whimsical. There were so many flowers and stuff just out to, springtime. So I'm sad I couldn't really stay out longer. Like it was very lovely. But I think I still have something in my eye. So I needed to call it and come back. But it was really lovely. It was nice and cool. I'm glad that I did that. I felt very whimsical and it felt good. I'm gonna keep working on the felling and then we'll move on. Thanks for coming on my walk with me. I did it! I made an apron.
I finished it. I hand sewed an apron for the first time. I have some leftover fabric pieces, quite a lot more than I was expecting to have left over. So I'm hoping to be able to make that into a pocket for the front, even just one to be able to fit my phone. I think would be really convenient. But I have been working on this for too long already, so I reached a good stopping point. It looks like an apron, so I think that's a win. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I think I did a good job. There's a couple of things that if I did this again, I would do differently. One of those being that I only regret using black thread just like a little bit. For a first project specifically, because I don't like how obvious it is in the final product, but I really like being able to look back at the seams and see like the progress of what I was doing. So that's, it balances itself out. As for during the process, uh in the future, I will 100% be drawing on any seam allowances / seam lines, because trying to sew in a straight line without any reference is uncomfortably difficult when you are a beginner. I have to say, I have to note that I made not a fatal mistake, but enough of a mistake that, so on this seam just under the waistband, you can see this stitching here. And that's from the gathering that I did, except that shouldn't be visible. I made the mistake of sewing on the waistband too high. I sewed the waistband above the gather line instead of below the gather line, so then when I folded over the waistband, it made the gather line visible. So I definitely have to keep that in mind next time I do anything. Like just where are seams gonna be and what are they gonna look like and that sort of thing. But yeah, other than that, it was really cool. It was mostly felling stitch. So it was kind of just like practicing doing that all the time. There was a little bit of back stitching. And then whatever the stitches that you do to gather, which all of what I did needs practice, that's for sure. But it was cool to do so much felling, and I can see improvement in like every single seam that I did after one another, which is really nice. Like whether it's just like the closeness of the stitches, the size of the stitches, which is why I said like I only regret a little bit that I used black thread, because it's so visible, but that's kind of a really cool thing. It's just that I can see so visibly like the improvement in my stitching. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was really nice to just be sitting during the evenings and sewing and watching whatever, and it just feels like another sort of activity that I can do that's really just something to do with my hands while I can like watch TV or something, and then I get something cool out of it. So I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you enjoyed coming along whilst I did this. Just a little project that ended up turning into a little bit bigger of a project, mostly just because I took so long to finish it. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching. And I hope to see you again next time on whatever adventures I get up to. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. If you did enjoy it, I'm gonna have more stuff like this coming out. So, it would be really cool if you considered subscribing. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you had fun, because I had fun, and it's nice to share this with you. I hope you have a good day or night or whatever. So, bye. Top of the cat just scared me. Give me a D&D character where it's just a tavern keep and they use a towel as a whip. Screw looking like an elven innkeeper. This is what we're all really here for. I feel elevated. Yeah, okay.